So after that, it's one of the best segues of the album to me, right there with Man in Trouble in the Meddling Wood. It's her blues. That's obviously Eric's song. Did you have anything to do with that one?
I have nothing to do with writing that song. No, not at all.
Okay.
I just know he had played it for me.
Right.
And so we came to a point where we're going to do an Eric song that he sings, I mean, other than Speed Freak Highway.
Right.
And so I said, I said Her Blues, except I didn't know the title. I was like, you know that one that's like, I was trying to describe it to him.
Right.
Because I just love that song.
It's awesome.
Yeah, because he was like trying to decide what to do, you know.
Right.
And so, but yeah, I didn't write it, but it's a great song.
Right.
And I do agree that those two songs together are kind of like, that's a good patch of road there on that record.
Now, one question I've always had about that song, the voice he's singing.
Mm-hmm.
Is he singing from the male perspective or the female perspective?
Well, it seems to me that he's singing from the male perspective because he's saying her.
Right.
And he's saying, although I see there are some of the lyrics are like he's speaking as the female.
Right. I can't figure it out.
Right. At first I remember thinking like, because you know the first time I actually plainly heard all the lyrics, I was like,
right.
But yeah, he's like, what does it say? Like, where I bought, he's speaking as I.
Right.
And brand new blouse.
Right.
You know, the stuff she bought that she's putting on.
Right.
Because I'm worth it, you see.
Right. That's the part that really sounds like it's from the female.
Yeah, it is. You're right. It is spoken from the female point of view.
Okay. So it really is from both kind of.
Well, now that I had to think of the lyrics, and the title is Her Blues.
Right.
But I think the actual lyrics are from the perspective of the woman.
All of them.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. As I remember, that's the way I take it. Yeah.
We'll have to ask him.
It's like she's talking.
Right. Most of the time, yeah, but there's parts that make me think that it's him.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know.
Right.
That's a good point. But it's a great song. And,
Definitely.
You know, yeah.
So after that, it's Glorioski, which we've already talked about, and then Beneath the Streets of Nashville.
That's right.
And then comes a song about freedom.
Freedom Fitters.
Yeah, well, tell us a little about that, and just about the thoughts of freedom in general as it relates to the album.
Well, first of all, that song was one of the two things that were recorded previous to these sessions originally.
Right.
But they just didn't wind up on a record, and that's a weird thing how it works. But it's like a piece of the puzzle.
Right.
But I thought, going into the sessions, that this would be, because I like the song, and I think it's a really good recording.
It blew me away to hear that was recorded 10 years earlier.
Yeah, it was 10 years before, and so I wanted to put it on the record.
Right.
I just didn't know how that would go over,
Right.
like with everybody else. And so when I mentioned it, and what David Barbie said, was like, well, bring it in here, let's see.
Right.
And then when we played it, it was like, man, oh, it's on the record. It's like everybody was on board,
Right.
you know, which is fair. Like nobody heard that shit in 10 years, man,
Right.
including me, like the original, you know.
I remember when you were searching for a song in a different tempo, just to change up the pace of the record.
Yes.
And I could not believe when you told me that song was 10 years old.
Yeah, it sure was. And I wrote that song when my ex-wife now, when she was pregnant.
Right.
But we hadn't told anybody yet. So it's like the line about, it's just you and me and our little secret makes three.
Sure.
And it was a great time in my life.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, freedom, that's whatever it is to
Right.
you. Like I felt pretty damn free. Like I felt just like, man, I'm exactly where I want to be.
Right.
Everything was cool, you know. And it was, that's what that song is. You know?
Right. Well, before bringing that song to this record, did you already have a freedom kind of concept through a record?
I don't think it was that specific. I don't think I said like, this is about freedom or,
Right.
you know, I wouldn't dare.
Well, a lot of the record speaks of it.
It
That
does.
song's really all about it.
What I had in mind, and when we were thinking about a title for the record, which ultimately Black Market Tango kind of went a different direction. But not really, because what I'm saying is it was about like love under stress, love, life during wartime.
Right.
There's an old picture from World War II, a famous photograph of this couple sitting on a park bench and they're like kissing, but up in the forefront, in front of them is this like obviously World War II era barbed wire.
Right.
And it's just like, that was the record to me. Like, in fact, I was thinking about like what we have to do to get the rights to this picture for the cover.
Right.
Because that's what it's kind of about to me. Like, there's a lot of shit going on in the world. Like, whatever your politics are, it's like, and this was before the coronavirus.
Right.
It was like, who would have? It's like it's gotten more complicated and heavier. But that picture kind of was like, that's what the record is about to me. I remember thinking that, and trying to find a title that kind of represented that. And then Black Market Tango, I think it's a little more of a path for some people to get there, like what that means maybe in their thinking. But to me, it's like, it's the tango. It's like this. And then I started reading about the tango, by the way.
Right.
And it's got this history as the dance of rebellion.
Right.
Of the people.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a very beautiful and like time-honored, like, you can't take this from us.
Right. Definitely.
It's kind of like a religion or something. It's like you can fucking screw